Hey, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. And today we're talking about picking out great photos for your pre-launch landing page and also kind of explain what I'm referring to there. And we'll go through a few different examples. So it's coming up right after this. Okay, so the pre-launch landing page, what am I referring to that? First of all, I am referring to this as being separate from the Kickstarter or the Indiegogo landing page, okay? So the Kickstarter or Indiegogo page is different from what I'm talking about in today's video. The reason why it's different is that you first go through a pre-launch before you go live on Kickstarter or Indiegogo. You'll know that if you watch some of the other videos on my channel or you go back into my history, you'll be able to see how to actually conduct an effective pre-launch. I actually talked about this last week on my mastermind where we went through a complete workshop, A to Z, nuts and bolts, going through every element of the pre-launch. So I go kind of way more in depth in my mastermind. If you're not yet, you should definitely be a part of that, and I'll include a link down below if you want to check out some of those things. There are also live workshops, which is pretty freaking cool. But that being said, and I'm really excited about it, that being said, let's get into picking great photos. Okay, so when it comes to the landing page, the pre-launch landing page, what is the point of this thing? What the heck is the point of this thing? I mean, you're gonna have a Kickstarter campaign page, right? Why are you doing a pre-launch landing page? The reason why is that you need to use this page in order to register interest, okay? So part of the pre-launch is registering interest. I actually went through the entire funnel in one of my master classes where we went through that like step by step, the funnel that you have to go through to get random strangers who you've never met before to back your product or to buy your product when it comes to Kickstarter or Indiegogo. It all starts with interest. And there are different people out there who talk about registering interest, but there's really only one way to do it, right? So the pre-launch landing page is there to register interest. This is designed to get someone who you've never met before, who stumbles on the page, to be interested enough to say, tell me where to buy this. I want to buy this. Tell me where to buy this thing, right? And then obviously when you come out with your Kickstarter Indiegogo, they are then able to. But there's a whole funnel that goes behind that sequence. So when you're starting off here, you know, we could obviously just tell them the high level functionality and the high level benefits. But most people, when you tell them those things, they tend to not believe you, right? You tend to, with writing, be really constrained to being able to make someone believe something, okay? And I know that's so ironic because I love writing, man. Like, it's one of my favorite things. My entire life, I've loved writing. And to this day, it's something that I do regularly. And you'll notice when you read a really good book, like a page turner, you're actually having visual images appear in your mind. And that is by design. A really good writer can make you feel emotions towards a character when you're reading a book. A really great writer, as you're progressing through a story, will make you want to turn the pages even quicker in order to get through the story because you're so excited about what happens next. I'm sure you can think of some different books that you might have read in your youth or even recently that kind of have that effect. And what you'll notice is that not only when you're reading like a thriller novel, let's just say like a page turner, and you're left on a hook, and then you're like, no, I want to find out what happens next, right? And you're feeling emotions, the pace is quickening, you're seeing images in your head. Different words have different connotations, right? And it's really cool. But for the average person, unless you're like a writer like me, or you're really gifted when it comes to literary craft, you probably don't have the luxury of being able to do that, right? So the way that we do that as marketers is that we just go straight to the source, which is images, right? We will include high quality photos and images on a landing page in order to get people to feel emotions, to create buy-in, and to give credibility. Okay, and if you want to even get just a layer deeper here, when you are actually reading a word, right? You're reading a word in a book or even just a sheet of paper, and let's just say that word is forest. I throw out the word forest. What immediately happens? Well, you have a really quick image in your head of a forest or a tree or something like that. If I say a lush green forest with wind that's moving through the branches, creating a rustling sound with the leaves, all of a sudden you start to get a little bit of that image, right? Which is really cool, but you don't have that same luxury when it comes to marketing with your landing page. So words are always turned into images in our mind. Same with being able to hear something. They're turned into senses, and then our brain sees that, right? And then we feel an emotion. So when it comes to doing a pre-launch landing page, you first want to pick out and write down what the high-level benefits, functionality, and promise is behind your product, okay? You want to first write this down in a document or write it down on a notepad, okay? You want to pick the top 3 or the 4 high-level benefits, and I'll give you an example, very shortly after this. You want to pick those, and then you want to create photos or GIFs that demonstrate those things. It's really that simple, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily easy. So let's kind of get into an example, and I think that will kind of help you wrap your mind a little bit around this, because I know it helped me at least wrap my mind around it. So when it comes to example, let's just say that you've invented an entirely new travel bag, okay? And this travel bag is amazing. You've been working on it for a year now. It's out of the prototype stage. You're like, I want to now start to do a Kickstarter campaign for this thing, okay? And your travel bag has a lot of different functionality, a lot of different benefits. We're just going to pick a couple with this example. So number 1 we're going to pick is the travel bag helps you keep all of your accessories when it comes to your photos, your videos, really well organized. There are all these different little modules and compartments. It helps you stay organized when you're going out to a video shoot or a photo shoot, okay? And you feel organized. It feels great. It's like a breath of fresh air, right? That you can stay organized. The next one we'll pick is that it's waterproof, and then we'll finally pick one that like it looks cool, or maybe it's minimalistic, or it's really easy for you to carry around. Okay, so let's start with the first one. When it comes to organization, you have created this product, or it's in your mind, or you have a prototype of some kind, or you've sketched it out on paper. If you as a customer or as a user are interacting with that product, what needs to happen? What experience do you need to have in order to come away with the conclusion, wow, this actually is really well organized, or that was awesome. It feels like a breath of fresh air. This is super well organized. What would you need to see? What would you need to visibly see? Let's just imagine that this bag, you put it on your bed or you put it on your couch. What would you need to see in order to come away with that conclusion, that it's well organized? Well, the image that's coming to my mind is I have all of this camera accessories and gear and microphones and all this kind of stuff, shoulder strap, right? And just in a clump. And if I could see that everything fit really neatly in its own little space in that travel bag, and I was able to just close the thing and take it to a shoot, I'd be like, wow, that is really well organized, right? It would take all of my accessories and camera stuff from one bag and be put in all these little compartments, and it'd be like, that is so amazing. That is so easy to use. It's very organized. So for me, that's the first image that comes to my mind. And you could think of how you could take a photo showing how maybe there's a clump with all these accessories, and then they're all fit in these individual little compartments, and you could show how everything has its place. But what if you have different types of accessories? Maybe this modular camera bag has Velcro and you can move around the different little sections, right? So all of a sudden we're getting into how do you demonstrate that quality of organization? You do it by snapping a photo or by taking a GIF, showing people how it can be organized. And then when you see that in real life, right? I see that, I come away with, that's cool, that's organized, that's awesome, right? When someone that you've never met before sees the same thing, they're gonna come away with the exact same conclusion. And you can do that by taking a photo of that end result, or of taking a GIF of the process of A and B in that process stage, right? So you wanna brainstorm and think about, what would I need to see in order to come away with that feeling of this thing is organized? Then you take a photo or a video or a GIF and you capture that, and then you put it on the landing page, or you put it in your Google Drive, where you're then gonna put that, right, on the landing page. It's really that simple. And what's ironic is that's why photography exists in the first place, is to share experiences with other people. And we tend to forget that when we're trying to then market a new product. Like you take photos, for example, of your kid when they're really little, so when they're older, they can see and have the same experience that you had when you got to see their birthday, and they kind of remember it a little bit, or they get to see it and they feel a little bit of the emotion behind it. We take photos naturally to share experiences with other people, and we can do the exact same thing with marketing, only this time, having that direct experience comes to the conclusion away, oh, it does allow you to be organized. That's really cool. Okay, I wanna read more and learn more. So let's move on to the next benefit. Let's just say that the next benefit is that this camera bag or this video bag is waterproof, okay? So it's waterproof, it's rugged and durable in many different elements, many different kinds of precipitation, whether it's rain, snow, or it's raining cats and dogs, right? It'll just bounce off the thing. It's amazing, okay? So if we're going to demonstrate that, what would you, and you can write this down, what would you need to see in order to come away with that conclusion? What would you need to visibly see in order to come away with the conclusion that this thing is waterproof? Well, I'm just kind of thinking to myself right now, and I'm like, if I dunked this photo bag into a pool and then I took it out and all of the camera gear was not damaged, like it was just like brand new, and even the interior wasn't wet at all, I would be like, okay, this thing is waterproof for sure. Like there's no question about it. I don't even need to be convinced anymore. You dunk the thing in a pool and take it out and it's waterproof. Yeah, that's obviously waterproof, right? So you could take that experience if you wanted to, for example, and take a photo of that or take a short GIF of that and show that and open it up and people see that everything is not damaged at all, that it's it's completely fine and that it's really insulated inside. I'd be like, I believe you, it's waterproof. Other ones would be just maybe pouring some water or seeing rainwater on it and it not harming the internal electronics. Even drawing attention to the fabric and why it is waterproof, and maybe having a line outwards showing and illustrating that this fabric is waterproof in some kind of a way. Other things would be different types of precipitation, right? So you're kind of getting the idea. What would you need to see in order to be convinced of, yes, that thing is waterproof? I have tested it, right? How can you show that in a photo? How can you show that in a GIF? Or how can you show that in video form? So let's just say we're getting the landing page together, right? So first of all, we got that first one, which is it's modular, it's well organized. We got a photo that demonstrates that high level benefit. Now we got another one. It's waterproof. We got a photo that demonstrates that benefit. Now let's go to the third one, right? So the third one we'll just say is it's minimalistic. It looks cool, right? It's not just some big clunky photo bag that you're gonna take around and you're gonna feel like you're like the hunchback of Notre Dame, right? Trying to carry this thing from shoot to shoot and it looks really awkward and you feel like a geek and it just doesn't look great, right? This thing is like cool, it's minimalistic, it literally looks like any other kind of laptop bag or looks like any other kind of bag that you would see people walking around Brooklyn wearing. So what are some of the ways you can demonstrate that? Well, we could demonstrate that through association. So when you are looking at someone and you're like, I really like that person's bag, when do you usually come to that conclusion? Usually, if you're out and about, maybe you see it at a cafe. Maybe you see it in the workplace. Maybe you see them walking down the street and you're like, man, that's actually a pretty cool bag, right? Or even see them out in a field and they're doing a photo shoot and you notice it from afar and you're like, that's cool. I like the colors of that, or I like the way that that looks, or I like how it's more minimalistic looking, right? So you could take a photo of the bag or someone wearing it in those different locations. And if you showed it in a few different locations, it's almost as though the person who's looking at the landing page is experiencing that same thing that you did in order to get you sold on the fact that it was minimalistic in the real world, except they're just seeing a photo of it. So it's scalable. You can send thousands of people, and if they see that same photo, they're gonna come away with that same conclusion. Like, look, it looks cool in the office, it looks cool at a cafe, it looks cool at a restaurant, it looks cool when you're actually out in a field or something like that, doing a photo shoot, some kind of artistic thing or whatever that people do in Brooklyn, you know? You can come away with that conclusion based on those photos. So those are just three simple examples, man. You know, there are a lot more, but you want to sort of stack them on the landing page. So as you go down, you would be reading the benefit, right? Which to say is waterproof, and you'd see the photo and you'd be like, I believe it, makes sense, right? Clearly it's waterproof. Go down more, minimalistic. Okay, that's cool, but show me. Okay, I see it. Oh wow, it is minimalistic. You start to build credibility and they get to the end of the page and you're like, I like it. Tell me where to buy it, right? It's really that simple. Now, just because it's simple doesn't necessarily mean it's easy, okay? So there obviously, there's a lot of thought and brainstorming that goes behind photo selection and deciding on that and different angles and these kinds of things. But by the end of this video, you should at least have an idea that it's not rocket science. It's something that you can learn. There is a process behind it, okay? So I hope that this video was helpful for you, at least in figuring out the way you can demonstrate benefits functionality, and promises using photos. And ironically, that's what cameras were made for, is to share experiences with other people. You're just now doing it using marketing and in a marketing context. So if you like this video, I talk about a ton more stuff like this in my mastermind. You can check it out down below. It's this new thing that I'm doing and that I'm trying out. I hope that you like it. And if this is your first time, give me a thumbs up in this video. Let me know that you did like it, you found it to be helpful. Come subscribe to this YouTube channel if you want more content like this. I got tons of other great links in the description, including my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula, and a bunch of the other ones out there. So I hope you liked it. My name is Salvador Briggman again, and I will see you next time.